Hello there. Today I want to talk about a film called The Dirt. This is a film that you can catch on Netflix. It came out in 2019, and this is a biopic about the Motley Crue, a rock band from I believe the 80s. And I've now seen it a few times, and both I really look forward to watching it the second time, because once I watched it the first time, I was, it was just a blind watch. Hadn't heard of it. I wasn't recommended it. Just came across it, and it had I mean, at the time I didn't know Colson Baker. He's a musician, turned actor as well. I didn't realize he was in it, and like once I looked at the cast after on Letterbox, I saw him, and I was just like, whoa, okay, there we go. And there's also another actor. I could be wrong, so I could be making a fool out of myself, but he certainly looks like him anyway. There was a British television series back in the day, where Misfits it's called, and and there was this lad, and I'm pretty sure he's in this Motley Crue as well. He's the man that plays he's in a Motley Crue, and he's like he has like a degenerative disease, like a bone disease. I think that's him. For you guys that have watched the Misfits, you can probably, once you watch The Dirt, you can or just check it up yourself and see if I'm right. Um, yeah, the Motley Crue. Well, it's called The Dirt, but yeah, the Motley Crue. Just once I watched that film, I hadn't I don't know too much about the Motley Crue or their music, but after watching it the first time, which was in 2019, I sort of heavily got into their music because it's really good. And then once you learn about the Motley Crue, and by watching the film, you see all the crazy stuff that he did, and then you research it in real life, and it's like, yeah, like they did all that and more. And I mean, it's just like rock band stuff, isn't it? Rock star stuff, trashing hotel rooms, doing crazy stuff, and it's nothing to promote, but like seeing it and living vicariously through these characters is just crazy. It's like, Wolf of Wall Street type stuff of what they were getting up to. But then it does have its, like, because this is a true, not necessarily not all of it's a true story, but around, yeah, a lot of this stuff did happen, and these characters do, they rise and they fall. They have real life um, upsets that happen to them, and tragedies with their own love lives and their own children and families, and these characters are growing up with these childhood traumas, and then they have all this money, and they live vicariously through vices that which really destroy human lives. And we do one thing I will say is the way that, I mean, I wouldn't, films, not all films have to be 2 hours plus. They could have used the same time frame of the length of the film, but perhaps they spent all this time on the rise, and then the sort of like the anguish for these protagonists, as we do in films, is sort of like the fall of all of them, and then it sort of like wraps up quite quickly after that. I'm not saying it needs to be longer than what it is. I think it clocks in at, gosh, hour and a half. So I'm not saying it needs to be longer. I'm just saying the pacing, not necessarily the pacing, but how they scripted the last 10-15 minutes. They could have, I don't know, but that would be a nitpick of mine. That would be my criticism. Other than that, I like the meta aspect of how we watch a lot of these biopics, and then like certain characters that did play a role in real life are not included in the films due to creative or whatever. The characters in this film mention that they sort of they stop the film. One of the characters looks at the camera and sort of says like, well, we didn't actually meet this manager like this, but this is how it's described in the book or something, or this is more fun. Sort of like meta ways of doing it, which you don't see all the time. And there's another instance of that where, yeah, there's another instance of that. So that's really cool. Just a bit different, isn't it? Yes, it's a wild film. Ozzy Osbourne, an interpretation of Ozzy Osbourne's in there, and I think that's like the craziest scene, because the character of Ozzy Osbourne does some crazy stuff at a hotel resort. Um, and yeah, so I really enjoyed The Dirt. It's not just like a like a one watch, or like a throwaway watch, or just like some piece of entertainment. I do think it has a story to tell. I think it has a message, more so a warning. Look out for your body, and watch out for your friends and others, because doing what they did to themselves for so many years, it can lead to your demise. Um, yeah, so I do think it's quite poignant by the end, and being that a lot of this stuff did happen, there's a car crash to this like a English rock star that happened. So when you hear that these things are real, it's quite it sort of packs more of a punch. And I like all the characters. If I knew more about rock and roll world, I would probably pick up on sort of the makeup of certain extras and background characters that were probably real rock stars back then, which some of you might pick up on. They mention a lot of famous faces anyway, but yeah, that's The Dirt. It's something that has probably passed a lot, going over a lot of people's heads because I think it's a Netflix original. Don't quote me on that, but it is on Netflix. Um, so a lot of people have probably missed it, but this is a biopic, an interpreter. It's based on a book by, I think, Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee might have wrote this or someone else. So that's the story. It's what the film's going on. But yeah, it's about the Motley Crue. They do create a couple songs in the film. Well, I don't even want to give it away for those of you Motley Crue fans. There's like one epic scene that they don't recreate it epically, but they recreate something that the drummer did in their career on one tour. Yeah, that's The Dirt, and it's about the Motley Crue. Check it out if you're a Motley Crue fan. If you're not, they're a rock band. They're infamous for being wild. Check it out. Thank you.